The Spiritual Dessert Truths, episode 48 for Russell Brand and other people. Well, I'm dressed for my birthday dinner, my fancy birthday dinner. And in the meantime, I'm still reading Story of a Soul, St. Theresa. And it starts to get pretty crazy, actually. Yeah, so we left off our saint scared of the dark. Well, this little one was, and she started to become more so. She said, when I got back to Les Buissonnets, they sent me back to bed, though I did not feel the slightest bit tired. And the next day, however, I had a bad relapse. So she started getting these crazy headaches. So, I don't know, which is sort of associated with awakening. That's my computer. I guess it's waking up. Yeah, there's a crazy amount of messages today. I'm sorry if I didn't get to say something yet. Like I love you and thank you so much for your love, for your messages, for your birthday cheer. It was like a marathon birthday month. Okay, so going back to poor St. Theresa. I do not know how to describe this strange illness. I said things that I did not think, and did things as if I were forced to do them in spite of myself. Oof, sounds like possession. I seemed to be delirious nearly all the time, and I am sure I never lost my reason for that moment. Sometimes I was in a coma for hours on end, unable to move at all. Though all through it, I was able to hear distinctly what anyone near me was saying, even in a whisper, and I can remember it to this day. How the devil terrified me? I became frightened of everything. My bed seemed to be surrounded by frightful precipices, some nails in the wall. Ooh, in my room petrified me because they looked like, to me, great black charred fingers. Ooh. Until sometimes I had to cry out. One day, Father was looking down at me in silence and holding his hat when suddenly it seemed to turn into a horrible shape. I showed much terror that poor Father went out sobbing. But if God allowed the devil to attack openly, it kind of sounds like what's going on these days. Some news agencies, unmentionable, and some newscasters got the devil in them. Need some more love. Need to change back. Need to, I don't know, elevate somehow. All right, so everybody, send them love. They got it bad. So, yes, going back to the charred finger looking things coming out of the wall. Yikes. He sent visible angels to console and strengthen me. Marie had never left me, nor given me any sign of being tired. Not like me. I look tired. It is like the middle of the night. I was too tired to take things off. That's how bad it is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could not bear to let her go. So she was always calling for her sister. Victoria, as you know, is the maid. She's looking after me at mealtimes, and I never stopped crying and calling out, Marie, Marie. I only kept quiet when she wanted to go to Mass or see Pauline. So she was like a little rascal. She still became a saint. Oh my gosh. Every Sunday they used to spend hours shut up with a child who seems to have lost her reason. Oh, my sisters, how you've suffered for me. Aunt and uncle loved me very much too. My aunt came to see me every day and brought me tons of little delicacies. She's spoiled. She's eating the cookies. I can't say how much my affection for them grew through all of this. Father had often said to us, remember, my dears, that your aunt and uncle are remarkably devoted to you. In his old age, he himself experienced their devotion, and now he must be watching over those who lavish so much on him and repaying all their care. Whenever the pain eased a little, I thoroughly enjoyed myself weaving crowns of daisies and forget-me-nots on the statue of Our Lady, and she's always playing with flowers. Whenever the pain eased a little, it was a lovely month of May, and the world was full of spring flowers. Only the little flowers was wilting. That little flower was her. Ah, boy. Yikes. Father came into my room one morning on the verge of tears and went over to Marie. Sadly, he gave her some gold coins and told her to have a novena of masses said at the shrine of Our Lady of Victories. I grew up at the church called Lady of Victories. For the recovery of his little queen. His faith and love touched me so much that I wanted to jump up and tell him I was cured. But this was not enough to work a miracle, and it needed a big one to bring me back to life, a very big one. But Our Lady of Victories obtained it. It was one Sunday during the novena. Marie went out into the garden, leaving me with Leonie, who was reading by the window. And after a few minutes, I called out, "Marie! Marie!" Someone's bothering Marie. Oh my God. Leonie was accustomed to this sort of thing and took no notice, so I called louder. And Marie came back. I saw her quite clearly come, and then, for the first time, I did not recognize her. Anxiously, I looked all around me, then toward the garden again, still calling Marie. I went through dreadful suffering during the struggle, yet Marie probably suffered even more. She went on trying to get me to recognize her, but without success, until finally she turned and whispered something to Leonie before she disappeared, pale and trembling. At once Leonie carried me to the window overlooking the garden, and still without recognizing her, I saw Marie walking slowly up and down, holding her arms to me, smiling and calling, "Therese, my darling Therese." As even this failed, she came back in tears and knelt at the foot of my bed. Then turning toward Our Lady's statue, she began praying for me with all the fervor of a mother interceding for her baby's life. Leonie and Celine began to pray too, and heaven opened its gates to answer to their faith. That's kind of how it works. As I could find no help on earth and was almost dying of misery, I too turned to my Heavenly Mother, asking her with all my heart to take pity on me now. Suddenly the statue came to life. Mary appeared utterly lovely, with a divine beauty I could not possibly describe. There was a wonderful sweetness and goodness about her face, and her expression was infinitely tender, but that went right to my heart was her smile. Then all my pain was gone. Silently, 2 big tears trickled down my cheeks, tears of complete and heavenly happiness. Our Lady had come to me. How happy I am, I thought, but I must not tell anyone, or this happiness will go away. When I lowered my eyes, I recognized Marie at once. She was looking lovingly at me and appeared to be very moved, as though she half guessed what had just happened to me. I'm quite sure I owed the wonderful favor of Mary's smile to her prayers. Seeing my gaze fixed on the statue, she said to herself, "Therese is cured." And so she was. The light. I got cut off. Birthday message. Let's see. We left off on Therese is cured, and so she was. The light from her gentle sun had revived the little flower, delivered once and for all from her cruel enemy, and she was alive again. The dark winter was over, and the rain was gone. So well did Our Lady's flower flourish that 4 years later she was blooming in the fertile soil of Mount Carmel. Marie, as I said, was sure that it was Mary who had restored me to health, and had half guessed the rest as well. When we were alone, she pressed me so delicately to her. Oh, I could not refuse. I was so surprised to find how she had guessed, though I had said nothing. Then I revealed everything. I had not been mistaken. At once my happiness went, dissolved into bitterness. Oh, and for 4 years, the memory of that unforgettable favor caused me nothing but pain. My happiness was restored after that, in all its fullness, at the shrine of Our Lady of Victories as I knelt at her feet, and I will say more of that later. But first, let me tell you my joy was turned to sadness. Marie listened to me as I told my story with my childish simplicity, and then asked me if she could tell them at Carmel, and I did not like to say no. It was such a joy to me on this visit to see both of you, in your habit. And I think it was a wonderful moment for us both, with so much to talk about after all our suffering. Though I could hardly say anything, was so happy, was treated very affectionately by Mother Marie de Gonzague. Sounds Spanish. Some wanted to know if Our Lady had been carrying Lord Jesus Christ, and others if she had been accompanied by angels, and so on. All these questions worried me very much, and all I could say was, Our Lady was very lovely, and I saw her come toward me with a smile. When I saw that they had much different ideas about it, I thought perhaps I told them something wrong. If only I'd kept my secret, I should have kept my happiness too. Our Lady was allowing me to go through this for my very good. I should probably have become vain about it, had been otherwise. As it was, all I got was humiliation, and could only regard myself with contempt. Dear God, you alone know all I endured. Growing Up, Chapter 4. Nighty night, pleasantries.